Hey folks, I'm Rob and I'm back with another Player 2 Plays, and yes, we're continuing the journey through Atari 50, the anniversary celebration. Now, previously we've covered some of the arcade games included, some of the 2600 games, some of the 8-bit computer games, and now this time we're looking at some of the games, for the Atari 5200. Now that's a machine that never actually got released in Australia back in the day. It was only ever released in the US because it flopped pretty quickly. The idea they wanted was to make something a little more advanced. They used the hardware behind the 8-bit computers that we saw in the previous episode, but they paired it up with a pretty rubbish controller. So a lot of the 5200 really had a lot of arcade stuff ported over, both of Atari's own games and of third-party stuff. So let's dive in. We won't play Bounty Bob, which is repeated here twice now, because we've got it also on the 800, and it's basically the same game. So we'll look at Millipede. Now, Millipede didn't actually see release on the 5200, but it did see release on the computers. And yeah, I'm a little bewildered why we got that version here instead of the computer version. Like, I actually have a copy of it. But yeah, so let's dive in. This is, of course, a conversion of the sequel to Centipede, and would have come out in 1984 had it actually not been scrubbed. Anyway, let's hit start. Let's just... So Millipede, of course, is like Centipede in that your goal is to try and take out said critter from moving down the screen. It's just that this time there's a lot more of it. And there's a bunch of cool additions. I actually really like the coin-op. I think I like the arcade version of Centipede less than Millipede. I prefer the stuff that Millipede added, and I think I'm in the minority of that. Already got an extra life. Nice. That's good. That's good. Rapid. And I just lost it. It's hilarious. And I gotta admit, so the Centipede, the Millipede, I keep saying Centipede. The Millipede arcade machine, like Centipede, was built around a trackball controller. And so it's a bit of a shame that, all we'd have access to on the 5200. Well, actually, we would. The 5200 did actually have a trackball shipped with it. Not shipped with it, but it was available. No. The big addition is those DDT bombs, which when you actually shoot them properly can be very handy. Just clear out a whole bunch of enemies in one fell motion. But yeah, the big thing with this version of Millipede is that it is a much slower game, and it's so it means that, well, I can get into a bit of the zone here. I realise we're almost at 30k. It's my last life now, so I've got to be careful. But we've got the extra life. Let's sucker up the poison critters. The of course is just working out how to not die so easily, because it's kind of easy to just get caught in an inopportune moment, especially now as we've got more of those spiders bouncing about, more of the Oof. Alright, we're having a decent run here. As I said, like the 800, there's not much to the 5200 library here, so I don't think there's... Maybe we might end up showing a few more games as we go through, but we'll see how this run goes. Probably going to be at the point where I'm just going to sort of keep myself going for a little longer, just earning it. So it's usually just watching how you've got to keep your eye up above so you can take out the Millipede. But also focus on taking out the Also, focus on the stuff around you at the bottom of the screen. Pretty respectable score this run. Can't complain about that. But that's the thing, is because of the slower pace, it's a little easier. The original arcade game is much more brutal, which is no surprise, because of all this extra stuff that gets brought in. And, of course, just all the general challenge. So I'll just keep zapping. This might be the end. And it is. Well, that's Millipede, which is a pretty decent conversion. I can see why it didn't get released back in the day. I mean, it's a little slow, it's a little chuggy, but it's not a bad version. Let's keep going. So look at Missile Command, which is another one that I think really sort of gives you the iconic experience of the arcade at home, and that's sort of where the 5200 really sat at its best. Again, the thing with Missile Command here is that because you've only got, you have got double fire buttons on the controller, so you could actually have two bases, but they decided to keep it one. Probably because it would keep it in sync with the, well, because of course it's based on the version released a little earlier for Atari's computers. Again, it's basically the same game, just with the controls reworked to handle support for both the 5200's trackball, but also its analog stick. But, so you know the deal here. You basically have your missile base, shoot down some missiles, try to protect your cities as long as you can, because you can never win this game, and the arcade thing of playing until the game eventually beats you is very apparent here, I feel. Anyway, so take the satellite out too. Just gotta be careful about it. Well, we're doing okay here. And of course, at every 10,000, you get an extra base should you mess up. But no, that one's coming to the base. No. Oh, we intercepted it. Oh, thank goodness. Oh no. That's 2 cities down. So, getting your bases hit is one of the areas it does different from the arcade game. And that's just because in the arcade game, you had 3 bases, and so you'd lose that entire base. Whereas here, you've just got the, well, because you've only got the one base, you lose a set of missiles. And done it. You lose a set of missiles, but you can fire in a few seconds. Ooh, we're so close to an extra base at least. It's not the dreaded smart bomb. On the upside, we did get 10,000 points. So the game is not completely over. Okay. We've got one base. So at this point, the goal is really to protect that base and protect our missile base so that we can actually... No! Come on, come on, come on. Oh, well, now that's game over. Missile Command, you are marvelous, but you are also so cruel. So cruel. As we get there, the end. Well, okay. Let's go on for the real piece of this 5200 collection, and that is Star Raiders. Star Raiders is a classic that was sort of the launch game for the computer line, and was ported over to 5200 and enhanced slightly, some minor fixes and stuff, but it's been given some tremendous love here in Atari 50, so let's dive in. And essentially, they've actually done some major enhancements to the experience. So, oops. If you want to resume, Press B to select difficulty. Pilot. Or I'll go Warrior, which is the third of the 4 difficulty levels. And so, the idea with Star Raiders is you are in charge of... Let's attack computer. Yeah, turn tracking off. You're in charge of a starfighter, and your job is to clear these sectors of enemy ships. So, we're in the galactic chart. We use that to plot a course, which is the little green dot. We press fire. Now we go into hyperwarp. So the goal here is to keep that cross centered. It's important to do that so that you can you don't go off course. Now the goal here is to basically get in range. Let's put some speed up. Oh, they snuck just below me. Trying to fire from behind, so let's go to R view. And this whole setup is great because basically you map the triggers, the shoulder buttons or triggers. I think I remapped it to being the speed control, and then you have the right thumbstick to change views between your forward and aft view, the long range scan, which helps when you're when you get systems damaged, and your galactic chart for plotting courses. Gotta be careful because this. See if he scooches through. Yeah, there he is. Take him down. Alright, so we've got hit. Alright, so we've got one more target in this sector. Let's speed down a bit. Alright, so that sector is clear. Now the big goal is we want to make sure that those star bases don't get surrounded by enemies. So we're going to try and warp and take this one out. On the easiest of the game's levels, this sequence is mostly straightforward because you don't have to worry about aligning the target. You just it's automatically centered for you. So, oof, we just lost our attack computer. That's fun. And that's the fun of this game. Just stuff can go completely wrong when you least expect it. Alright, we got shield damage. I'm going to call a tactical retreat. Arched. Posthumous rank is rookie class 4. Oh, that was wonderful. I wasn't expecting that to be over that fast. Oh, let's go back to pilot, the second difficulty level. Anyway, so go to the galactic chart. Things are a little simpler now. Turn that attack computer on. Line up the crosshair. Let's warp. I'm not ready for warrior mission yet, it would seem. That's okay. We'll go back to pilot. On me, and let's get this ship in range. Can't shake you. Oh! It's not just a fighter, it's a base star. There we go. 1 down, 2 to go. Oh, he's squished by there. You really got to be impressed with just the, this is a, computer. This is hardware that was designed in the late 70s, and this game was designed to run in like as little as 4K of memory, and it was on an 8K cartridge. And it's like I think it's like the only game. Oof, double hit there. Doing okay. It's the only game that can run on like every model of the Atari computers. Just because of the fact it was so well designed. Anyway, we've got no targets in this sector, so we've got to do this sector. One of the challenges, of course, is when warping between sectors is efficiently using power, because you use power to, to engage the hyperwarp, at the same time, it's exponential. So you want to not make jumps that are too long in process. You want to make shorter jumps where necessary. Damn asteroids. Which we don't get points for taking them out. 1 down, 2 to go. And so I really love the enhancements that have been made here. So all this outer chrome, the damage indicators at the bottom left and bottom right of the screen, the number of targets in the top left, and the systems along the left panel. It all really just adds. Like, if you were playing this game on the original hardware, that's all stuff you would have to manage, like, yourself, just knowing, how many enemies there are. You'd have to keep track, knowing the icons on the map. Okay, let's line up. Some speed in. Now we're on course. We can see that the distance is closing in. So those 3 numbers at the bottom are sort of the most important. It's how far you're off horizontally, how far you're off vertically, like in terms of angle, and your range, which is just how far ahead or behind they are. And we're closing in now, but we've got to... They're turning around a bit. And you've got the attack computer. And if you do it right, you can line up a shot and basically get an insta-kill. So we've cleared that sector out. Let's take these 3 above us, because they're lining up. The idea is the star bases become vulnerable to attack when enemies have surrounded the sectors above, below, and to the sides. So 4 enemy formations have to do that. Once there are enemies in place, then you've got a limited amount of time to take that starbase, to take those out. At least 1 formation before that starbase is destroyed. We've got 2 enemies there nice and quick, which worked out really well. I'm cruising in. We'll scooch around the top there. Alright. Now you can have a look there. And I think we might actually... It might be wisest for us to head out east at the moment. So if you had a look on the map just there, you saw there are a whole bunch of groups starting to get within range of... We can have a look that there's a starbase that's now surrounded by 2 enemies. So we want to probably get around to try and bust that group up so that they don't surround one of our starbases. So let's walk. Alright, so now we'll use a little less energy to go this one. So let's go there. And if we take this fleet out, then we've temporarily bought us some more time. Now, let's line ourselves up. Get some speed up. While they're behind us, now in front of us. 1 down. 1 to go. Alright. Now we can see that this starbase is now trapped on 3 sides. So let's bust some Xylon forces and give it a little bit of protection. Again, alright. Gotta be careful there, because it's the Xylon base star. And we've got to get in close to try and get a direct lock. Alright. What do we got? How's our fuel? I think we're like... Yeah, we've got plenty of energy. So energy is our fuel. That's used by just having systems on, using weapons, hyperwarping. Everything costs energy. And so you want to keep that as long as possible. Acknowledge that eventually you don't want to run out because that'll end the game. And what you want to do is try to it's part of what ultimately gets you your best score, is like managing your energy use. Alright, let's close in, slow down a bit. We're getting in range. Oh, it's popped behind us. A little slow. Thought you could hit my shields from the back. Oh, nice! Who just... Alright, so let's get ourselves in place horizontally, get the speed up so we can approach. So even things like running at a faster speed will consume more energy. Having your various systems on. Alright. Alright, I think we could... I saw you sneaking from below. So one of the things that's generally very impressive with this game for the time, and still makes it impressive now, is that this is actually all doing 3D math. Like, there are the maths in there to give it the 3D positioning. That's why the way the ships move feels so good, even on, like, you know, a game written in the late 70s. It's incredible. And it's still some incredibly tense dogfighting, even after it. And it's worth noting, the creator of this, Doug Neubauer, was also the creator of Solaris, which was one of the games I showcased in the 2600 episode, which is a couple of episodes ago. Solaris could kind of be considered the sequel to this. I mean, there are actually proper Star Raiders 2s. There's actually 2 Star Raiders 2 games. One, like Solaris, started out as a tie-in to The Last Starfighter, but then obviously got reworked, and then there was another that was far more advanced that I haven't been able to play properly because it doesn't quite work right on PAL hardware. But that had, like, you could land on planets and stuff. It was still written for the same Atari computers, just with, you know, requiring a lot more memory than 4K RAM. They're snuck above me. Stay on target. And, you know, the fact that the maths is a little odd, which leads to the general problem with those particle cliffs, that they slow down a bit. That's kind of why they do, is because the math isn't quite as efficient there. And in Atari 50, you can adjust the emulation so that it runs at, like, overclocked. But I find it makes the game a little too fast. Like, I don't mind the slowdown. Uh-oh, our engines are hit. And you can see that now the engine's indicator at the bottom corner is lit up. Alright. We've got to go for repairs now. So we just go to this starbase. Because not only do we need to protect them, they'll also serve us. And we also need to refuel anyway. Alright. So I love that. It tells us establish orbit with starbase. So let's slow down. There's the starbase there. We just need to get our range in place. And that's pretty straightforward. It doesn't help that the engines are basically useless to us. But we can stop. Orbit established. Stand by. Originally, they wanted this to be like you actually flew inside the starbase, but they couldn't get that to work. So instead, you arrive in orbit, and this little ship will repair you and refill you. Nice. So we've been repaired and refueled. So let's go and continue the fight. A little bit of distance, a little bit of time to close in. I just love the atmosphere. Like, you don't need... It shows you that, like, atmosphere... There's so much you can do to make a good atmosphere in a game. Ooh, I had the lock, but not quite. Come on, Starbase, let's get in range. Let's tango. Alright. Now it's time to just start mopping up. We've only got 3 squadrons left to take out, which means none of them are really in danger of actually harassing our starbases. But, you know, this operation is about making sure everything gets cleaned up. Oh, we weren't lined up properly. See, that's what happens. If you don't line up properly, you can misjump and you'll be off target. Oh, and they jumped in the interim. That's hilarious. They're crafty little Xylons. And that's one of the things that just works out so nicely in this game. There we go. The enemies do have a bit of intelligence to them, so you've got to sort of learn the tricks. And there are plenty of tricks to learn. Alright. So, we have a look here at how... So now, we've gone to 700 units to make that jump. So if we go down there, we'll use maybe a quarter of the energy. May use half the energy to make the same, to cover the same distance. Alright. Yep, that's fine. And now we make the second leg of that jump. Again, it's non-linear energy use, so you want to be careful. I mean, even though right now we've got a lot of energy now because we've refueled, you've still got to be careful because you want to be efficient. As when you complete the mission, whether you survive or not. Oh no. Protons are damaged. Come on, see if we can take him out. I don't think. Oh, nice, we did take him out. We got to be careful now because our photon torpedoes are damaged. Right, one more to go in this sector, and then we can try and clear things up. Alright. Well, what we need to do anyway is we need to get to that last squadron over in the west. So let's stop by a starbase and get repaired in the process. The one fear I always have when playing Star Raiders is I lose my long range, I have to resort to using the long range scan. I've never been able to handle that properly. Alright, so let's bring everything up. There's the starbase, just cruise in nice and slow. Orbit established. Stand by. Thank you, Starbase. Yes, sorry we have to come by. I was hoping to not have to do a second stop, because essentially what happens is the number of times you use Starbases, how long you take, how much energy you use, they're all the factors that sort of make up what your final score is. But now let's go take on the final squadron, and call this a wrap, I think. Okay, 3 to go. Two to go. Alright, let's line this one up in the sights. Targeting computer. Base star. Well, it's only the long-range scan. It's not the end of the world. We just need to line ourselves up. I'm not too fussed about the long-range scan being damaged. We're not going to need it. Again, we're closing in on the final fighter. That's why he's getting so sneaky. Is he trying to get away? Come on. Come to the Star Cruiser. We've got lots of things for you. Like death. And freedom. Alright. Just gonna have to reel him in. Oof. Okay, we're done. Final one destroyed. Starfleet to Star Cruiser 7. Mission complete. New rank is Ace. Class 3. Congratulations. So there we go. Star Raiders is amazing. It's a game I really enjoy playing on the original systems. I do have my Atari 8-bit computer with an original copy, and it's an amazing game. And I think this version that we've got in Atari 50 really is essentially the best way to play it, unless you have to be a purist. It's just like all the chrome, it just adds to the game, and I really love that Digital Eclipse went to the effort to do it. It makes one of the best games in the pack, pardon me, even more essential. So it's one I definitely reckon you should check out. So if you do grab Atari 50, check this out. This is one of my top games to play in the pack. But I'm going to use this as the perfect time to leave it here. Thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this look at these Atari 5200 games in this continuing little series of stuff that Player 2 plays. As always, if you haven't already, do subscribe to the channel for more Player 2 plays and other content from myself and other parts of the Player 2 team. Do check the main Player 2 website for more reviews, news, and other bits and pieces like that. And I'll leave it here and just say thank you all very much for watching.